Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja Dwivedi, and in this segment today we are going to discuss about a bill that has been passed by the Lok Sabha to give powers back to the states to have their own list of other backward castes. So this topic is very important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS mains papers. So let's look at the topics of discussion. These are the topics that we are going to discuss briefly and gradually. So let's begin with why is it in the news. Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment has introduced a bill 2 days back, and now it has been passed by the Lok Sabha in order for the states to have the powers to have their own list of other backward castes. So as we are in this process of discussing this segment, it might be that Rajya Sabha is also going to pass this bill, because in the Lok Sabha, not a vote which was there for this particular law to be passed, not one vote was against. So you can see how unanimously this bill has been passed in the Lok Sabha. So let's discuss about the background. Starting with the background, in the year 1950s and the 1970s respectively, there were certain commissions formed under the chairmanship of Kaka Kalelkar and BP Mandal. So these reports actually worked towards the policy of what the policy should be for the other backward castes, and the importance to form a national commission for backward classes was stressed upon in the 1992 Indira Sohni case, and in the year 1993 then onwards, National Commission for Backward Classes was established under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, but there was a cap of 50% on the reservation, and only at times when it was of utmost necessity and special conditions, those 50% the 50% cap could be breached. This was stressed in the Indira Sohni case. So let's talk about the background with respect to 102nd Amendment Act. In the year 2017, a bill was introduced in the Parliament which got its assent in the year 2018, and it came into being as the name of 102nd Constitution Amendment Act of 2018. It inserted and altered certain articles. It inserted Article 342A, 366, 26C and 338B. This is very important. This is at the core of the discussion today. We will know why. 366, 26C talks about the socially, economic and backward castes. It defines it. Remember this. This article defines who are the backward classes. And let's talk about Article 338B. We will discuss these two articles, 342A and 338B, in the next round. Okay? And what did 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act do? It gave the constitutional status, the privileged constitutional status, to the National Commission for Backward Classes, because earlier I told you that it came under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. And what did this committee had to do? It had to examine complaints and suggest welfare measures regarding the socially and educationally backward castes. And it also had a chairman, it also has a chairman, a vice chairperson and 3 other members appointed by the president. Keep that in mind. Appointed by the president by his warrant, under his hand and seal. Also, if we talk about the conditions of service and tenure of the chairpersons, it was also to be suggested by the president of all the members, like the chairperson, the vice chairperson and the members. And in Article 340, the work of the Article 340 was to identify the socially and economically backward castes, then understand why they are socially and educationally backward, and then recommend measures to mitigate those who are socially and educationally backward, and inserted new articles by the name of 338B and 342A. 338B was allotted the work of with respect to complaints and welfare measures of the socially and educationally backward class, and Article 342A, it empowered the president to recommend a list of socially and educationally backward castes with the help of, in various states and union territories, with the help and consultation of the governor. But a law had to be passed by the parliament in order for the list of the OBCs to be amended. So this was the entire issue, that socially and educationally backward castes are different in different states, but this actually centralized the entire process. This article centralized the entire process because president is involved here, and also the parliament. A law had to be passed in the parliament in order to amend the OBC list. And then the Supreme Court, in the judgment of May 5, 2021, they dismissed the Maharashtra government's plea to provide reservation to the Marathas. This group was dismissed any sort of reservation because it said, the Supreme Court said that it upheld the 102nd Amendment Act, and that is why there was a cry in all the states which were looking forward to have their own lists. And also the center did ask the Supreme Court to review its decision, in the sense that center has said that we are okay with the states of having their own list of backward castes. And the Supreme Court did say that the 102nd Amendment Act takes the powers away from the states to have their own list of OBCs. So that is the entire issue. That was the entire issue. So now this page that I have elicited to help you understand, the language is not very refined for us to understand, but just one thing that we need to keep in mind here. Now, in Article 338B, that means National Commission for Backward Castes. In the Constitution, in Clause 9, the following provisions shall be inserted. So, 342A, we have already discussed, and for the purpose, these are the two clauses we have already discussed. But one thing that we need to keep in mind here is central list means that the list of socially and educationally backward class prepared and maintained by and for the central government. The center will have its own list. And notwithstanding anything contained in clause 1 and 2, every state or union territory, may by law prepare and maintain for its own purposes, a list of socially and educationally backward castes, entries in which may be different from the central list. Okay, the two lists may be different. Okay, so this is a very important excerpt, and you can have a screenshot of it. And moving on, let's talk about the features of the bill. The name of the bill is, of course, 127th Constitutional Amendment Bill, and it will benefit 671 castes in the country, 671 different castes. And the bill seeks to restore the power. That means restore means to give back. Restore the power of the states to identify OBCs that are socially and economically backward and educationally backward. After a Supreme Court order in May 2021 empowered only the centers for this, only the center for this. I have already discussed about that. Okay. The amendment was thought necessary. This particular amendment, the current amendment, was necessary because the Supreme Court, in its order on Maratha reservation, it upheld the 102nd Constitution Amendment Act, which struck at the crux of the federalism in India. Okay. So this is the segment that we have discussed earlier, and I have reiterated it for better memory. Okay. Let's talk about the objectives. Strengthening the federal structure. This is the first objective, because every state will have a different list, because difference in list is because certain castes may be very progressive in nature. They may have progressed and they are not socially and educationally backward anymore. Certain castes were socially and educationally and economically backward, but they were not able to move forward because they were not considered and recorded so. So every state will have their own diverse system of list, and that is why it will define and benefit the targeted population in a very decentralized manner, very refinedly, because every state, because of the different particular lists, It will provide diversity in the benefits. The benefits will be targeted in nature. Moving on, if we talk about the another segment that has arisen. As soon as the bill got passed, there were also demands of having a socio-economic caste census, which was there in 2011. So, caste-based census is conducted since the year 1951 to the year 2011. Census has been conducted for both SCs and STs, but OBCs, they were not there. And in the year 2011, socio-economic and caste census was done, and the data for the OBCs has not been released. So, what actually happens if a particular group has not been recorded? Then the policy will not be maintained in an appropriate manner to benefit that population. As soon as we know, as soon as we record a particular segment, we will be more equipped in handling their grievances and handling their welfare measures. So, it's of course in 1931, till 1931, the caste-based census used to get conducted. Just keep that in mind. Okay, let's move forward and talk about the challenges. There are certain challenges. Like any bill has a way forward, we also give challenges to them. The first is it will encourage dependence on reservation. Most of the people will look and they will outrage in order to get reservation, and because of that many castes, subcaste and micro castes will also appear. Agrarian distress is there already. As we know, the Marathas, they are and they have been a very strong agrarian community, but because of the distress in the agriculture, their demand to move to other segments for having a remuneration increased, and that is why this entire issue of reservation occurred. And ignoring meritocracy, there should be a balance between meritocracy. The meritorious students, irrespective of their caste, should be encouraged, but not at the cost of some short-sighted reservation. Reservation is fine, but meritocracy should also be upheld. Also, short-term political gains. Many politicians try to actually capitalize their political career on such short issues, and that is why it has been reiterated many times in the parliament that the 50% cap should be removed. Okay, and excessive of anything is injurious to human health and the political health of a nation. No trickling down of benefits is also feared, because a certain group of the other backward castes, they may be able to get the benefits of it surely because they benefited earlier, and because of that a larger populace which does not know or is not aware of the benefits, they may be left behind, thus increasing the chasm between the well-developed in the OBCs and the least developed in the OBCs. Okay, that will further exaggerate the problem. What is the way forward? Distribution should be there in accordance to the necessities. Proper distribution of the reservation benefits should be given to the minor section. The section which has never taken the benefit of reservation should also be kept in mind. And deployment of more constructive tools other than just reservation. More employment opportunities so that proper distribution of talent takes place in the country. And meritocracy should be balanced with equality. People who have been historically marginalized sheerly because of their castes, of course they deserve reservation, but meritocracy should not be overlooked, because at the end of the day, meritorious students, they deserve a chance to have a representation in the building of the nation. And also the government should look to mitigate agrarian distress, because a huge amount of the population is dependent on agriculture. If the agrarian distress is not addressed and acknowledged and mitigated, then more agitation will be there, because population that is dependent on agriculture will move towards different sections that will create more demand for reservation. Okay, so these were the way forwards. Let's look at our question. Okay, India has become a reservation dependent country. Critically analyze. This is actually a statement by Indira Sawhney. So we have to analyze this statement. Okay. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.